Hello, it's Stephen in wonderful Wiltshire in England, and today we're going to talk about testing your stream before going live, tools and techniques, and that's going to keep going round. I'm on OneStream Live, my favourite broadcasting platform, and there's an enterprise version which I'll tell you about later. If you're in business and you want to stream and you want to play pre-recorded video and you want to use OBS and vMix, and broadcast to your website, then OneStream Live is a tool to use. So in fact, the vast majority of live broadcasts go without any problem. But the thing is, there are things that we can do to make sure that we have even fewer problems than we do now. And I'm going to be taking a look at those in the next few moments and take them on board, make a note of the numbers. And if you have any questions, please do ask. I mean, we're here, OneStream Live are here to help you and support you and make sure that every live stream that you do is successful. Now, one of the things that I'm passionate about is actually planning a broadcast. Before you go live, what you need to do is to have an agenda. One of the problems with live broadcasting is running out of words. So you need an agenda and you need a plan B. You need something to talk about if you run out of agenda, because unless you're doing this broadcast twice, you're always doing it once and it's got to be right first time. But we're going to come back to that. So let's bring the agenda on screen. And if I go here, this is today's agenda. And we're going to be looking at, if I go to the side, just give me a second. I'm going to swap the two around. I can do this in my OneStream Live studio. And we're talking about testing your stream before going live, tools and techniques. And I'm going to take you through the topics and then we'll look a bit closer at each one. Introduction is what we're doing now. Test your stream. And you ideally want to have an upload speed of 6 to 10 megabytes for a 1080p 600 FPS stream. I'll explain that later. Speedtest.net is your friend, because using speedtest.net, you can determine what speed you've got before you actually go live. And it's always handy to have a backup internet connection. Now, that could be using Speedify, SpeedIFY, and you can tether your mobile phone to your desktop internet and increase your speed. CPU. Now you need to keep an eye on the CPU, because the CPU is, well, it's basically determines the strength of your stream. Now my CPU is currently running at 54%. You want to try and keep that below 70. Once you've got a computer running above 70, then you can start eating into the processing capacity of your machine and the broadcast will suffer problems. Run a private test stream. Now, whatever you're doing, once a week at least, run a private test stream, and that can be just by recording it, or it can be by going live. And if you go live to YouTube, you can basically broadcast to YouTube and then afterwards watch it, set it private and make sure that everything's working. That's what you're trying to do before you actually go and do your real life live broadcast. Monitor audio and video sync. Now, what you can do is, again, on the test, and I actually do this live as well, is that we watch broadcast on a mobile phone. Switch your phone onto 4 or 5G and you can monitor the broadcast as you're live. And that means that people don't have to tell you when you forgot to switch your MacBook on. They don't have to tell you that the screen is fuzzy. Rarely happens with OneStream Live, of course, but you've got to do that. Okay, the other thing you need, and I'm going to bring this on screen now. This is important. You need one of these. Okay, always be prepared. During your broadcast, if anything goes wrong, have an image that you can bring on screen. I designed this one with Canva, and it says, I will be back on screen soon. So if you've got a problem with your camera, problem with sound, then you just put the image up. The image can go full screen and people can still hear you, and when you come back and see you as well. Have one of these to hand. I'm just going to swap back as well. I'm going to replace the media and bring it over here as I did before. And camera, lighting, and audio. You need to check these out again at least once a week to make sure your camera is working, to make sure your microphone is working, and to make sure that the lighting is good. Okay. If you're going to be using graphics, and I am using graphics today, then make sure that they're all in the studio and all ready to use. There's nothing worse than basically what I do. I plan every broadcast in Notion. Notion.so is a product where I plan all my broadcasts, and I put on there, as well as the agenda, that's where the agenda starts live, but I also put on there the images I'm going to be using, so that when I actually start the broadcast, I bring all those images up on screen and I don't forget one. So as you're designing your broadcast, make a note of the images you're going to be using during the live broadcast. Makes life a lot easier. Check your camera is working at least once a week and your audio, and prepare your on-screen graphics, and then have a script like the one I've got next to me now that you can actually follow during the live broadcast. And just in case you run out of words, have a backup topic you can switch to whilst you're live. Okay, which can be related to what you're talking about. Doesn't have to be, but the ability to actually broadcast about anything is what we're after. Turn off distractions. So switch off your phone when you're broadcasting. What you don't want is a beeping phone. And tell everybody about your broadcast. You have to let people know that you're broadcasting live. No matter how much care you take before the broadcast to make sure your broadcast is high quality in terms of sound, in terms of vision, in terms of flow, in terms of the images you're actually using, no matter how much preparation you do, there is one thing you need to do before you go live. It's nothing to do, well, if you just go live without any warning to anybody, then nobody's going to watch you. What you actually want to do is promote the broadcast before you go live. That's an integral part of testing everything. Yeah, it's basically get in touch with people. So let's rewind and let's go back. And so the first thing is to test your stream, and we would recommend an upload speed of 6 to 10 megabytes, and for 1080p 60 frames per second. Now most of us broadcast at 1080p 30 frames per second, but if you've got one that will do 6 to 10, then basically you're good to go. So what I'm going to do now is bring on to stream. These are my current figures. I've got a 24.69. Now the download figure is important, but not as important as the upload figure. As I just said a moment ago, you need an upload figure is between 5 and 10 megabytes. And that's basically what you're aiming for. If you have one which is lower than 5, then you're going to have problems streaming. And I know that well. So test using, this is speedtest.net. Use speedtest.net to actually check your speed, and do try and have between 5 and 10 upload. Okay, because it's the upload that is the one that counts. Okay, so speedtest.net is the app I was using there. Okay, I put it in the show card here. And then a backup internet connection, which can be tethering your mobile phone to your desktop. So you've got Wi-Fi on your desktop, PC or Mac, and then you have your 4G or 5G signal, and using a program called Speedify, you can actually tie the two together. Now, to do that costs you around about $70 a year. And if you've got a very low internet speed, it is a solution. I proved it over the last 2 months. Works well. Now, the other thing is, what you don't want is a busy CPU or GPU. And that basically is down to being careful. What you need to do before every live broadcast is quite simply, before you go live, what you want to do is you want to shut down your machine, switch it back on, and go straight to your broadcasting studio. If you're broadcasting from OneStream Live using Chrome, make sure that the only tab you have open is your broadcasting studio. You want to have as few resources as possible. Now, the thing about rebooting your machine, this is so important. As we're using our machines during the course of the day, what happens is that processes that we start, be it a spreadsheet or a Word document or an AI session, we think we've closed them, but we haven't. A lot of software actually runs in the background, and if you don't reboot your machine, it will still be there. So, golden rule, reboot your machine and go straight to your broadcasting studio. And that basically will reduce the CPU usage and GPU usage, and you'll be good to go. CPU, keep it less than 70%. Mine's 57 at the moment, and that's ideal. Okay, so you don't run into problems. Right, switching back again. The next item on the list is do tests. Now, I run a test at least once a week just to make sure that everything is working as it should be. And you can either broadcast out to YouTube and watch the video, make it private. You can broadcast out to Twitch. You can just do a simple recording from the studio. Recording from the studio is still using everything in your studio. It's using your camera, your microphone, your lighting, everything. So recording is a very good test. Monitor your audio. And my tip on this is basically you want to make sure that your camera and microphone and lighting are good before you go live. Trying to make adjustments when you're live gets very difficult. Make all the adjustments that you need before you go live, because you can save a lot of problems before you go live. And that's what we're talking about today. As I said at the beginning of this, the vast majority of broadcasts go without a hiccup, but just in case, be prepared and test everything out. Test the video, test the microphone, test the lighting, make sure you look good on camera, well, as good as we can, and then you're good to go. And let's go over here and go down here. Okay. I love the fact that the OneStream Studio is so flexible. I can just move about the screen. Now, doing that, just before you go live, make sure you know all the positions that you can actually broadcast from and use them during the live broadcast. So I always monitor my live broadcast from my mobile phone. So I'd monitor the YouTube feed and I'd check that my picture is good and my sound is good. Remember our old friend, the Be Right back screen. Let's bring that onto the stream. And if I go here, you can see it. So it's the Be Right back screen. And obviously you can make your own design. I did this on Canva, and that basically is a great way. Because it's great to be able to take a break during the broadcast. Not if there are problems, but just to take a break. If you're broadcasting for an hour, you can take a minute off so that you're voice only by showing that card. Okay, add back to stream, replace that, and we're going to bring that back up here and have a show flow. So prepare the on-screen graphics. I'm using 3 images today, and we've got the agenda you've seen my internet speed, you've seen the Be Right Back card as well. Those were all in the studio when I started broadcasting. So do check that you've got everything you need to go live in your studio. And the other thing is, looking at it now, have a show flow or script so that you can actually run down from beginning to end. And hopefully, as the broadcast ends, you'll be coming down towards the last. item. Turn off distractions. Turn notifications off on your phone. Let everybody know that you're broadcasting live. You've only got one browser tab open, so you're not going to see anything that distracts you on the desktop. Switch your iPad off, switch your tablet off. And finally, review and adjust everything. Make sure that everything is working. And you will have a very enjoyable broadcast. As I say, just a reminder, majority of broadcasts, especially on OneStream Live, go faultlessly. Don't worry about it, but do be prepared. Do the checks. The more checking you do, the better the broadcast, the more confident you become. Simple as that. Checking brings confidence. This has been Stephen from wonderful Wiltshire in England. Thank you for watching. For any questions, just ask. Take care. Goodbye for now.